Hey, it's Joe with Jibe in Dallas, and you're on Antihero.
All right, so the first thing that I kind of want to touch base with you guys is the band kind of came together in the early to mid 90s, and then you guys kind of took a hiatus for a little while, and now you're back out. What kind of led to you guys taking so much time off?
Well, we had been together, for almost 10 years. We had toured nonstop, over 2,500 shows. We'd been together in vans and various forms of transportation for so long together, and we got caught up in the lifestyle, drugs and girls started to take over. I was out of control, jumping up buildings and taking a lot of, things to get me into that space, and it kind of started to pull us apart. So, it was one of those things where, I ended up moving out to California, and the band broke up, and it was one of those things. And there was a lot of negative energy between us because of the way that I left the band. So it took about 13 years for us to get back together, and people had tried to get us back together for many years. The promoter would be like, "Hey, I'll come play this club for this amount of money," and I was just like, "No, it didn't feel right." And then in 2015, I got a call, and it felt right, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And then, after a few months of negotiations, 3 or 4 months between really the drummer and myself, Ben, we had a little bit of a frictional point, coming through that because he was mad at me, and I don't blame him for that whatsoever. So it took a while for us to talk and work out our issues and get over it, and then we decided to meet in the studio. We actually recorded the last record, Uprising, in Denton. And we, said, hey, gave our hugs, talked for a while, and then we plugged in the instruments and we played a song called Naked or Rain that's a pretty popular live song for us off the In My Head record. And when we played that, the fucking soundproofing started shaking off the walls. There was this kinetic energy. And we just looked at each other and we're like, this is bigger than us. We got to get back together and do this shit.
That's awesome. And I mean, that was one of the things about the 90s was the drugs and, living the rock star lifestyle, and then we started losing a lot of the main influences of the 90s, and
yeah, we still are now. It's crazy.
Exactly. And I mean, it was kind of a good thing that you realized that it was time for you to step back, get yourself right, and then work your way back into doing music again.
Yeah, I was definitely on a dead guy trip. I was about to be the next dead guy, for sure, 100%, without a doubt.
Let's chat about the new album. I actually got the release a couple of weeks ago. I've been listening to it a lot, and
Nice.
There is a strong influence from Chris Cornell and Soundgarden and Audioslave in that
100%.
record. Where did you kind of get that influence, being from Texas and then using Seattle guy to kind of influence your music?
Well, I'm actually from Philly originally. My dad was a hippie, so I traveled the country nonstop until I ended up landing in Dallas and forming this band in the early 90s. And the influences come from, because when we got together, man, Soundgarden, Jane's Addiction, Tool, early Pearl Jam, I mean, all those bands, Smashing Pumpkins, those bands really fucking influenced. I mean, we were listening to shit like Frank Zappa, because Ben is an eclectic musician, the drummer in the band. He brought in crazy music that we would get in a right mind frame and listen to crazy music, and then we would just jam for hours. And we had literally had stacks and stacks of cassette tapes from this little 4-track that we used to record everything. We still have that. We're pulling riffs from. So definitely Soundgarden was a heavy influence, vocally for me especially, because I always liked the dudes that tapped into the moment and pushed themselves, and he had that voice that just captured the moment in time.
Absolutely. And, kind of how did that affect you when you found out about Chris Cornell's passing?
It was heavy, dude. I mean, we're still reeling in it right now. We were just talking. I just got into town yesterday for rehearsal. I live in Los Angeles. The band's here in Dallas. I just got in town, and that was one of the first things. It's like, we're still dealing with it, man. It's heavy. Prince is dead, man. Fucking David Bowie, and they're all dying, with the exception of David Bowie. A lot of them are dying from big pharmaceutical companies' intentions on people, and I mean, that's one of the things that we're kind of pressing against. Is this whole multinational corporation, big farm kind of effect that's happening with humanity right now. This whole divide and conquer and poison and kill. So it's definitely a flag that we're very aware of right now, and we can see it because all our heroes are dying, man.
Oh yeah, totally. And I mean, a lot of the '90s influence in music is starting to disappear. It's classic rock now.
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's a generational thing, and it's to be expected. It's what happens with evolution. Times change and new ideas come in. But the thing is, man, what I found is it doesn't matter if it's rap or if it's rock or if it's whatever. I like all kinds of music, and it's about an energy. When a band or an artist captures an energy and conveys it and reflects it, you feel it, and it's like it puts you in that time and space. It's like that song's about me, and it's about 50 different people, and that's what music and art is supposed to be, is a reflection of a omnipresent force, in humanity. And that's what I love about this band is we especially on this record, we stayed true to our heroes and our influences. We really wanted to reflect where we're at and what we feel, and really pay homage to our fucking the guys who influenced us.
Oh yeah, totally. And since we're on the topic of the album, what kind of influenced the album cover?
The album cover was something that Toby and I were discussing. Toby, the guitar player, and I are really interconnected. Like we're on a spiritual level, where he touches the guitar and I hear it from afar, and I grab toilet paper and I write a song, while on the way back to him. It's that kind of a vibe. And if we're talking, we finish, it doesn't matter where the idea comes from. One of us will come up with it in the moment, and it doesn't matter who it comes from. And we were talking about, capturing this kind of dichotomy of purity and innocence being thrust into this, devastational path that we're on as a species. And Toby had this idea. He was like, Alice in Wonderland. I'm thinking Alice in Wonderland. And I was like, oh shit. And then he influenced me on that. And then I just went to town with the art, and I found this imagery. I got the idea of this little girl in this little white dress with a bow, and she's looking, she's not looking, she's covering her eyes, and everything's just falling apart, around her. Society is deconstructing. And then as you open the centerfold, you see the girl and she's in a beautiful forest, and there's a path, and there's hidden numbers in the forest. There's all kinds of, and it shows that life is cyclical, and no matter where you're at, if you believe in yourself and you remember where you come from, you can find your path again. It's always there, and it doesn't matter which way you turn. It's always going to present itself over and over again until you finally evolve in that cyclical motion.
And it's kind of a reflection of the times as well.
It's 100%. Yeah, epic tales of human nature, man. That's the path that we've been on as a band, and that's the path that we're on as a species.
And like one of the songs that really stuck out to me was the Human Condition. What kind of inspired you guys to write that song and the lyrical content?
Well, when we were starting to get this record together and decided we were going to do a record, we were writing, and we were in rehearsals here in Dallas in the same room we're in right now, and we were jamming on an idea, and they had this riff, and it was like, it was bumping, and I just immediately just felt this. I don't know what possessed me, but it was just, I get really affected by the things I see and feel, and I try and reflect that unconditionally in art with a pure organic intention. And what happened was, I just literally wrote all those lyrics in one setting in this room in like a matter of an hour. It all came, the whole entire song just came out, just kind of fell. That's how it happens with this band. It's like I don't really have to think. I just feel and emote, and the band pulls it out of me, and I pull it out of the band. It's a vice versa thing.
And that vibe, was it kind of like natural when you guys got back together and started recording music again?
It was beyond natural. It was bigger than all. We knew. You can just tell we spent so much time together. We created this force, and when the four of us get together, nothing can stop us except ourselves. And it's undeniable to us, and it seems to be undeniable to the people around us. So we're really grateful and thankful to have this opportunity because we belong together.
What can fans kind of expect from the new release?
The new release, real reflections of what we've been going through and what we're all going through, and us getting out and playing a lot of shows, supporting it, shooting more videos, releasing more singles, recording B-sides and little songs here and there while we're touring and stuff, and writing towards the next record. So, and we've also been filming a documentary for the last year and a half, which has archival footage going back 14, 15, 20 years since when we started, something like 20-something years. We've been getting all that and compiling it, and we're going to tell the story of how we got here. And so a lot of full-length documentary, lots of videos, lots of touring to support this record, and just really trying to tap in 24/7 to reflecting as artists the art that we create and we feel.
With the tour, where are you guys planning on heading, and when is the tour officially going to launch?
We don't have anything booked yet. We've got this big CD release show July 8th at Gas Monkey Live, where we're going to be doing a nice big production show with all our friends, and we're looking at doing regional tour dates. That'll start in the few months following that, we'll be doing regionally. And then as we get towards the end of the year, we're going to be tapping into trying to push out towards the coast a little bit. But at first, it's going to be, a 6-state area where we had, success with radio play and stuff. We're going to follow that up. And then getting into next year, hopefully we can move coast to coast and getting internationally as well.
And with the documentary, we've seen it with bands doing it before, especially Metallica, giving more of an intimate view of the band and letting the fans in a little bit more.
Exactly.
What is your expectations and what is the takeaway?
Basically, it's a chance for people to see that we're all beautiful, we're all special, we all have a purpose and a path. When we're a baby, we wake up with these wide eyes and we just want to absorb life and grow and evolve. And we're immediately told no, yes, left, right, jock, prep, Democrat, pick a side, point your finger at the other, as opposed to letting it unfold naturally and develop as an individual being that can tap into the whole greater species. And I think that this documentary will truly show that A, it's never too late. B, your path is always there. We just deny it. We move around it. We move over it, under it, instead of moving through it and becoming it. And B, if you do listen to your inside, the voice inside you, and you do stay true, it doesn't matter how many, they call them mistakes, I call them experiences you have, you will find your way back. It's never too late. And you don't have to have your life flash before your eyes with regret when you're dying, because you can actually fulfill it at any time and complete it. And this band is a true reflection of that, because we don't belong together, but we do belong together. We shouldn't be here now because odds say we're too old, we're too late, we've done this, we've done that. But it's just a bunch of bullshit fear tactics to keep us divided and conquered. And I think that this band and this record and this documentary and everything about it is a true reflection of the potential of us as a species and as individuals and a bigger part.
That's incredible. That's really awesome. And you were talking about going back into the studio and working on new music. When are you guys kind of like planning on stepping foot back in and working on something new?
Well, considering we just wrapped up a year and a half of making this record, it's going to be a minute before we actually get back to the studio. But the way this band operates is when we're together, we create all the time. And I have a studio in LA, and Toby's able to send me riffs, and I'm able to work on them there, and we're able to compile them and turn them into songs. And then we can come and cut live drums to them and live guitars that need to be. So we have that facility where we're going to be able to get into the mix and record. So I don't have a time frame on that, but I really feel like we're in a spot where we're going to be able to create as we're going, as we're touring. We can crank out a song here, crank out a song there, crank out a video here. I just want to stay productive, and I want to keep tapped into this band's potential at all times.
Oh yeah, totally. And seizing the moment while you guys are together is important as well.
Exactly, because we're not taking each other for granted anymore, and I want to really, I want to really capture everything we can right now, because I know how precious this band is.
Exactly. That's pretty much everything that I have. Is there anything that I missed on that you would like to touch on?
I'm just looking forward to getting out to your neck of the woods and meeting everybody out there, because we're really on it took me my whole life to learn how to listen. I was always saying these things that I'm saying now, and there's no manifesto. We don't have a certain, script or anything. Every show's different. Every song's different. Every moment is different, and we'll never have the same thing twice, because that's what the beauty of humanity is. We can live in the moment forever, and we can constantly re-engage and constantly rebuild and evolve and recreate anything we want at any moment. And I'm just looking forward to getting out there and listening to some people and seeing where everybody's at, and taking a temperature and reflecting that back into the art, so that we can stay omnipresent and really, be an example and a reflection of everybody and everything, as much as humanly possible, of course.